Here's a summarized version of the full story of Genesis from the Bible, which encompasses a wide range of events, from the creation of the world to the foundations of the Israelite people. The book of Genesis is the first book of the Bible and sets the stage for the rest of the biblical narrative. The creation, Genesis 1-2. In the beginning, when the world was still formless and void, there was only darkness, and the Spirit of God moved over the waters. Then God spoke, and with a single command, light burst into existence. "Let there be light," he said, and immediately light separated from darkness. God saw that the light was good, and he named the light day and the darkness night. This was the first day. On the second day, God created a vast expanse to separate the waters. He called this expanse the sky, a great dome stretching over the earth. Above and below the waters were divided, and the heavens began to take shape, with the sky above and the waters below. And so, the second day came to pass. On the third day, God gathered the waters beneath the sky into one place, allowing dry land to appear. He called the dry land earth, and the gathered waters he called seas. As the land emerged, God commanded it to bring forth vegetation, plants of every kind, grasses, trees, and fruit-bearing plants that would nourish life. The earth sprouted with life, covered in green, vibrant with fruit and seed, and God saw that it was good. On the fourth day, God created the sun, moon, and stars to rule over the day and the night, marking the passage of time. The sun would govern the day, shining its light across the earth, and the moon and stars would illuminate the night. These celestial bodies were set in motion to guide the days, seasons, and years. And once again, God saw that it was good. On the fifth day, God filled the seas with creatures, great fish and sea monsters, tiny minnows and swarms of living things. He filled the skies with birds, soaring through the heavens, colorful and full of life. As the sea teemed with movement and the sky echoed with the sounds of wings, God blessed the creatures, telling them to be fruitful and multiply, filling the earth with their presence. On the sixth day, God spoke once more, calling forth animals from the land, livestock, wild beasts, and creatures that crawled upon the earth. Each was created after its kind, filling the world with life. But God's greatest creation was yet to come. In his own image, he formed man and woman, Adam and Eve. He breathed life into them, giving them dominion over all the creatures of the earth, the fish of the sea, and the birds of the sky. He blessed them and told them to be fruitful and multiply, to fill the earth and subdue it, and to care for all of creation. As God looked upon everything he had made, the heavens, the earth, the seas, the animals, and mankind, he saw that it was not just good, but very good. On the seventh day, God rested. His work was complete, and he blessed the seventh day, declaring it holy, a day of rest and reflection. This day would stand as a reminder of his creation, a moment when all the universe had come into being through his word and his will. Thus the heavens and the earth were created, and everything within them, in a perfect and harmonious order. The fall of man, Genesis 3. In the heart of paradise, Adam and Eve lived in perfect harmony with creation. The Garden of Eden was a place of beauty beyond imagining, where every tree bore fruit, every plant flourished, and there was no pain, no sorrow. In this paradise, God gave Adam and Eve only one command. They could eat freely from any tree in the garden, but they must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which stood at the garden's center. If they did, God warned, they would surely die. One day, as Eve wandered near the forbidden tree, a serpent appeared. This serpent, cunning and sly, was no ordinary creature. He carried within him the deception of Satan, and his eyes gleamed with mischief as he slithered toward her. "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" the serpent asked, his voice smooth and persuasive. Eve replied, "We may eat from the trees in the garden, but God said we must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, or touch it, or we will die." The serpent's smile widened. "You will not surely die," he said. "God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like him, knowing good and evil." Eve gazed at the fruit. It was beautiful, and the thought of becoming wise like God was tempting. Slowly she reached out, plucked the fruit from the tree, and took a bite. The sweetness of the fruit filled her mouth. She handed it to Adam, who had been nearby, and without hesitation, he too ate. In an instant, everything changed. Their eyes were opened, and for the first time, they saw their nakedness. Shame filled their hearts, and they hurried to cover themselves with fig leaves. No longer innocent, they hid among the trees, afraid of what they had done. In the cool of the evening, God walked through the garden. His voice called out, "Adam, where are you?" Trembling, Adam replied, "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." God's voice was heavy with sorrow. "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree I commanded you not to eat from?" Adam, ashamed, pointed to Eve. "The woman you put here with me, she gave me the fruit, and I ate it." God turned to Eve. "What is this you have done?" Eve's voice shook. "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." God's face darkened, and he spoke first to the serpent. "Because you have done this, you are cursed above all animals. You will crawl on your belly and eat dust all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." To Eve, God said, "I will greatly increase your pain in childbirth. With pain you will bring forth children, and your desire will be for your husband, but he will rule over you." And to Adam he said, "Because you listened to your wife and ate from the tree I commanded you not to eat from, cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil you will eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles it will produce for you, and by the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground. For from dust you were taken, and to dust you will return." The world had changed. Death, pain, and hardship entered into human life. No longer could Adam and Eve live in the paradise of Eden. God made garments of skin for them to wear and sent them out of the garden, away from the tree of life, so that they would not live forever in their fallen state. At the entrance to the garden, God placed cherubim with a flaming sword to guard the way to the tree of life. The once perfect world was now broken, and humanity would forever live with the consequences of that first act of disobedience. This was the fall of man, the moment when sin entered the world and the paradise of Eden was lost. Cain and Abel, Genesis 4. Adam and Eve had two sons. The elder, Cain, worked the land as a farmer, while the younger, Abel, tended flocks as a shepherd. Both men desired to honor God, so they brought offerings to him. Abel offered the best portions of his flock, choosing the firstborn lambs and presenting them as a sacrifice. Cain, on the other hand, brought some of the fruits from the ground he had cultivated. God looked with favor upon Abel and his offering, for Abel's heart was pure and his sacrifice sincere. But Cain's offering did not find the same favor. His heart was troubled, and God saw that Cain's sacrifice lacked the devotion that Abel had shown. This rejection stirred Cain's heart with anger and jealousy. He felt bitterness toward his brother and resentment toward God. His emotions boiled inside him, and soon his face was downcast. God, seeing Cain's turmoil, spoke to him, "Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it." Despite God's warning, Cain's jealousy toward Abel grew stronger. One day, Cain called to his brother, "Let's go out to the field." Abel followed, unaware of the darkness in his brother's heart. When they were alone in the field, Cain's anger overcame him. In a fit of rage, he struck Abel down, killing his own brother. The ground drank Abel's blood, and the echo of that terrible act resounded through creation. Soon after, God came to Cain. "Where is your brother Abel?" he asked. Cain, trying to conceal his guilt, responded, "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" But God knew what had happened. His voice thundered, "What have you done? Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are cursed from the earth, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, it will no longer yield its crops for you. You will be a restless wanderer on the earth. Cain's heart sank. My punishment is more than I can bear, he cried. Today you are driving me from the land, and I will be hidden from your presence. I will be a restless wanderer, and whoever finds me will kill me. But God, in his mercy, placed a mark on Cain to protect him. Not so, he said. If anyone kills Cain, vengeance will be taken on him sevenfold. The mark served as a sign to others that Cain was not to be harmed, despite his sin. With the mark of God upon him, Cain left the presence of the Lord and became a wanderer in the land of Nod, east of Eden. He carried the weight of his crime, forever separated from his family and from the life he had known. Yet even in his exile, Cain's descendants began to shape the world. They built cities, created tools from bronze and iron, and developed the first instruments of music, harps and flutes. Despite the darkness that had tainted Cain's life, his lineage contributed to the rise of civilization. The world continued to grow, even as the shadow of Cain's act of fratricide lingered in its history. The Great Flood, Genesis 6-9. As the world filled with people, so too did it become full of wickedness and violence. Humanity had turned away from God, and the earth was corrupted by their sinful ways. The grief in God's heart grew as he watched the cruelty and immorality spread across his creation. He saw that human thoughts and actions were continuously evil, and the world was drowning in its own depravity. God, heartbroken by what mankind had become, decided that he would bring an end to this great corruption. I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, he declared, for I am grieved that I have made them. Yet amid the darkness, one man stood out. Noah, a righteous and blameless man who walked faithfully with God. God saw Noah's goodness and decided to spare him and his family from the coming judgment. He spoke to Noah, revealing his plan to flood the earth and cleanse it of wickedness. Build yourself an ark of cypress wood, God instructed. Make rooms in it and cover it with pitch inside and out. This is knew then that the waters were receding, and soon the earth would be dry once more. Finally, after a year aboard the ark, God told Noah to come out, along with his family and all the animals. The doors of the ark opened, and Noah stepped onto dry land, grateful and humbled. The animals scattered across the earth, free to roam and repopulate. Noah built an altar to God, offering sacrifices of thanksgiving. God, pleased with Noah's faithfulness, made a covenant with him and all of creation. Never again will I curse the ground because of humans, even though every inclination of the human heart is evil from childhood. And never again will I destroy all living creatures as I have done. As a sign of this promise, God set a rainbow in the sky. Whenever the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and all living creatures on earth. And so Noah, his family, and all the animals began anew on the cleansed earth. The rainbow stood as a symbol of God's mercy, a reminder that he would never again destroy the world by flood, even in the face of humanity's flaws. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.